I didn't know how to take it. I didn't know how to receive it. I didn't know how to understand it. However, I began to understand it the more I began to speak about it. And it was so mind-blowing because I didn't know what I was talking about. I'm just thinking my feelings is hurt, but let me express my feelings, since my feelings is really hurt in a different level I can't even understand. Nevertheless, as my feelings was being hurt, it was teaching me the person I was becoming. So it was no longer me versus the world, me versus the problem. It was me versus myself. And when I understood it was me against me, this when I really began to grow and understand why I was growing this way. You versus you is understanding that you are no longer the person that you were when you went through that pain. That when you went through that hard time, when you went and experienced a heartbreak, you are no longer the same person. Why? Because if you learn from your mistakes, you learn what you did wrong. You learn what went wrong at the time and place that it even presented itself. Because if you want to be honest, it doesn't happen overnight. And it built up to this, and it built up to this pain. But see, oftentimes we neglect that feeling because we don't believe it's our intuition. In hindsight, it's our intuition because we're feeling some type of way. We're thinking it's a certain thought process for a particular reason. This is where I began to believe and understand what I was feeling, to learn why did this occur. To learn and identify it's not here for no reason, but what is the reason that is presented? The reason that was presented was because I was neglecting, I wasn't paying attention to my intuition. I felt a feeling inside of me that I didn't want to understand. I felt a feeling inside of me that I wanted to go against. And as I was going against it, it taught me that I needed to get my heart broken in order to understand I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. This is just one trial. This is one painful experience that I need to go through, that I need to deal with, that I need to learn. Because as I'm learning, I'm becoming better than I was yesterday. I remember last year when I asked my ex-wife for a divorce, I couldn't sleep for nothing. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think properly. I couldn't do anything because my heart was so broken. I was just focused on the pain, which was my feelings being hurt, and I didn't know how I was going to survive without her being in my life. This was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was the best thing that ever happened because it taught me who I was. It was me versus me because it was me versus my past. It was me versus me because of me against my feelings. It was me versus me because I wasn't listening to my intuition. See, there's a process that has to go on with your growth and your learning and your understanding. See, the understanding comes from you being aware of what you're feeling, not running away from it, not pushing it away because it hurts so bad to even sit in it, but really getting to a level where you understand why you're feeling some type of way at the time that it was present. Because what I didn't know was that the more you push your intuition back, the more you go against your intuition, the more you not listen to what you're feeling, the more it gets built up, the more it's building over time. Yet as it's building over time, how do you control the way you respond? You can't, because it's built up. I didn't know me building up my anger, my emotions, my feelings caused me to release them in the time that I didn't even expect them to come out. It wasn't me versus me. It was me against the problem. It was me against my past. It was me against my feelings. However, when I understood that I was the one that can control my outcome, I no longer blame myself in a way where I didn't understand why things took and delivered why things was presented at the time that they was delivered. See, people don't tell you that you really have to sit and understand your emotions. Your emotions is what will help you become a better communicator if you pay attention to why things are happening when they start happening. Here's what I've learned is that you can't really control the outcome. You can't control what everybody else is doing. My feelings was hurt because my ex-wife didn't give me the type of love that I was looking for when I didn't even know how to love myself. I didn't even know how to love myself. So how can the next person love me properly if I don't even know how to love who I am? And that's the game. That's the name of life, is to learn more about yourself each and every day. Get better than you were yesterday. As I was healing, I just focused on one day at a time. I just focused on a new lesson that I can learn and implement today. It taught me that you have to be patient with your journey. You have to be patient with yourself. So I started journaling. I started writing. I started asking myself hard questions, because it was no longer me versus the world, me versus my feelings, me versus the problem. It became me versus me. And me versus me taught me I matter. I matter, yet I only matter if I make myself a priority first. I matter if I only make myself a priority. Why should the next person make me important if I haven't even made the decision for myself? You see, that's why it's so important to understand you come first. Me versus me was saying me versus me was not putting myself first. Me versus me was letting my outcome control how I responded. Me versus me was not saying I have the power to control and handle everything that's in front of me. Here's what me versus me is helping you become that you didn't even know even existed. Me versus me is helping you become aware of everything that you've been through. When I asked my ex-wife for a divorce, I didn't know for a divorce. When I asked my ex-wife for a divorce, I didn't know I was going to go through this whole phase of growing and learning more about myself and learning more about my purpose and learning and transitioning. As I'm transitioning to myself, I'm becoming more comfortable. But as I'm becoming more comfortable, I'm no longer fighting against myself. I'm no longer going against what I'm thinking, because what I'm thinking is there for a reason. Here's why this is so important. I learned to put myself first. I learned how to put myself first. If I gave my all to the next person and the next person didn't return what I was looking for, now my feelings is hurt.